Hi there, crafty friends. It's Leah. I am gonna just give this a couple minutes to let people find us, let us go live. I mean, we're already live, pardon me. Let people find us. All right. Hope you guys are having a good day. It's pretty dark here, so bear with me that the front-facing camera might be a little bit grainy, but once it switches to the more important camera, it'll be great. Okay, so I've got you guys up on my phone, so I will be able to see comments a little bit better. Hi, Yaz. Hi, Cher and Daniel. Thanks for joining me today. I'm excited to have you guys here. Hopefully, hello from the Bronx and California. Hi, Anne and Bliss, not sure. All right, so I don't have a sample to share with you today other than I did kind of pre-stamp what we're going to do just for our background. So we are going to create with the brand new Nested Chevron die, coordinate, and using it with the coordinating pop-out chevron stamp set. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make a Christmas card with that. Hi, Karen, and Creating Paper, and Cher. I'm glad you're joining us for the first time live. Since it's your first time, and that was a good reminder for me, that we do give away a $15 gift card to one lucky comment. So be sure to chat with me, engage with me in the comments. I might miss some because, I'm trying to create and craft and watch comments at the same time, but my partner in crime, Heather, is moderating, so she definitely catches things that I might happen to miss. And then be sure to share the video. You can share it to your Facebook page, a Facebook group that allows it, anything like that. And then just let us know in the comments that you did share it. So those are all those details. Heather will pick a winner towards the end of our live feed. So looks like we've got a good amount of people on. Hi, Julie. Hi from Scotland. Thanks for joining me. Alicia and Monique from the Netherlands. Dee, Marilyn, Teresa. Hey, everybody. Okay, it looks like we have a good amount of people on. So I am going to get this camera switched over to my desktop, get you guys put over here so I can see you a little bit better. Okay. All right, bear with me for just 1 minute. All right, we got that switched over. And we're going to turn that off. Okay. Hopefully that will keep it from getting overtly bright as I move product in and out. Deborah, oh, it's so wonderful to hear that. We are your favorite paper crafting company. We love hearing that. Thank you so much for letting us know. I appreciate that a lot. Okay, so we are just going to get right into it today. We're going to start off first by stamping the chevron background with our pop-out stamps. So the first thing that you want to do is take your stamping platform and pull out the foam pad because you don't need it for this. And then one thing that I like to do is I actually like to have a full sheet of paper that hits my MISTI end to end so that I can still use magnets to hold the paper down. And then when you go ahead and, oopsies, get those back in. When you go ahead and, oh, shoot, of course that happened live. We'll just fix it in here. when you have enough room to stamp your background. So give me a minute while I fix those real quick. I must not have stuck them onto that plastic sheet well enough after I used it this morning. Okay, there we go. All right, so I had hoped that would be a little bit smoother of a transition over to the stamp, but that's okay. It's what crafting live is all about. Okay, so what I like to do with this chevron, this is our pop out chevron stamp set. So I like to get it arranged in my MISTI first. And as I mentioned, I like to have a piece of cardstock that hits edge to edge on my MISTI from the top to the bottom. And then go ahead and grab the pop out stamp onto my, the lid of my MISTI. Okay, so we have that. Now you can keep this frame in place. I definitely kept it in place when I was first learning to use this stamp set, but now that I am a little bit more well-versed, I do actually like to take it off. And that is because I can actually use the perforations to line up what I need to line up. So I'm going to give you guys a few tips on how I go about using my pop out stamps like this. So I'm going to be stamping them today in Coral Reef, Candy Apple, Meadow, and then one of the chevrons is going to be heat embossed in gold. So I always like to start with my first color first. So I know that this one right here is going to be Coral Reef. And so then I just count down Candy Apple, Meadow, gold heat embossing. So we know this one is also going to be Coral Reef. So then what I'll do is I will take off the bottom pieces, and then I will take off the 3 middle pieces. And that is how I know that I have the correct pieces for the colors that I'm wanting to use. And then I can start stamping and it's all in order and ready to go. So we are going to start stamping this one up with Coral Reef. All right, and so as I'm stamping these, because all I'm doing is just making sure that each stamp gets covered really well in our inks. So I did want to talk about the reason why we chose to make our backgrounds from red rubber. So I know, I based it a little bit on my personal stamping experience, but I also talked to a lot of my stamping friends and asked what they, pros and cons for background stamps. And it was a resounding yes, that you get a better stamp impression when you use red rubber. So we wanted to make sure that background stamping was easy and fun and you got good impressions every single time. So we decided to go with red rubber, and I am so fantastically happy that we did because they stamp beautifully. I very rarely have to stamp twice. And I'm a seasoned stamper. I've been doing it for a long time, and I even struggle to get good impressions with background stamps that are clear. Now, that doesn't mean they're bad. That just means they're a little bit harder. So I like how easy the red rubber is to stamp with. And as you can see, I got a perfect impression the very first time. Okay, so now this is the cool aspect of our pop-out stamps. So these are cut in pieces so that you can create these multicolor backgrounds. And I'll be honest, they are super, super easy to put back together. So when they are cut apart, they end up having these little perforations. And that is how I guide my next layer onto my MISTI. So line up those perforations, which you probably can't see on camera, but when you're actually using them, you will be able to see them. And you can also just use the top of the other stamp as your guide as well. And then make sure you just hold those pieces down and you can remove the piece that you don't need anymore. And then you'll go ahead and you'll do the same thing with the next set of stamps. because these are both going to be the candy apple red. All right, and then I just very carefully remove these. Now, if for some reason you accidentally moved them and you got a little out of line, you can always bring back that frame and use it to realign the layers again, and you can typically salvage your project. So now I am inking up the next set of layers in candy apple. And I am going to look at some comments. I know that I probably ignored them a little bit as I was getting that all set up. So I'm glad you guys are loving our pop-out stamps. We are super excited about them too. We've got a really great collection of them. So if you haven't checked them out, be sure to head on over to our website and see all of the different pop-out and just your standard background red rubber cling stamps. We have a really fun collection of them. Oh, thank you, Anne. I'm glad you love this stamp concept. We do too. It makes creating really fun backgrounds like this super easy. All right, so up, got the next layer here. Oh, you're welcome, Yaz. I'm glad that you are enjoying my tips here. Perfect. And look at that impression. Isn't that just awesome? I just love that on the first go round, you get a perfect impression pretty much every single time. And then you'll just want to gently clean your stamps off so you don't accidentally move them, because you are using that stamp to line up the next one. So I just try to be really gentle. You can always give them a little bit more of a harder clean when all is said and done. Okay, so we're gonna line up the next layer. And once again, I'm just gonna butt it up against that layer we just stamped. I'm gonna line up those perforations, make sure it gets stuck down really well. And we're gonna do these two little tiny corner pieces here. Okay. Just make sure you hold them in place so they don't move. All right, so this next layer is going to be Meadow. Yeah, the first two colors do look like Valentine's Day, but ooh, there's a little bit of glitter somehow that got on this, and that will definitely mess up my stamping. So we want to make sure that's off there. Okay, perfect. So it definitely does look like the start of Valentine's Day, but now we're going to add Meadow, and it's going to give it more of that Christmassy feel. That's the great thing about this stamp set. Just by changing the colors up, you can really make it work for any occasion. You can do the rainbow. You can do colors for any season, any holiday. It's a really, really fun stamp set. And as you're going to see here in a minute, we're also going to heat emboss. And if this were just a full background stamp, you would have to do a ton of masking. It would be a little bit more complicated. And so we love that this takes that guesswork out and just makes creating awesome backgrounds like this super simple. Lori, we actually have had quite a few of our design team members use this stamp set on a slimline, and you absolutely can use it on slimline, and it looks really awesome. All right, there's Meadow. Got a nice, perfect impression there, and we just have one final layer left. And if you notice that moved, not a big deal, because we are going to line up the next one off of this stamp. So it did not matter that those moved, because I'm not going to use them to line the last layer up. Oh, Julie, I'm glad you're enjoying our new release. We are super excited with how it turned out as well. And I'm going to be using some items from the release on this card here in just a little bit. So you'll get to see a little bit more of it in action. Okay, so we're lining up this final layer. So this one, we're going to do a little bit of heat embossing. So we will want to prep it with a powder tool. And you're going to want to prep pretty generously so that you can avoid the embossing powder sticking to the other sides of the stamping. And we're just going to ink it up with some embossing ink. I typically always stamp with embossing ink twice. I probably don't have to, but it just makes me, because I can't see it very well. So it just makes me feel a little bit better that I will for sure get a good impression. So I don't typically use very traditional Christmas colors. I'm not much into red and green, but I thought that this combination was kind of fresh. It's got a little bit of a bright and citrusy feel to it, even though it is your standard red and green. So I liked the lighter tones used with that really vivid candy apple red. All right, perfect. So there I know that I got a good impression on my embossing ink. All right, so now I'm gonna wipe that down so I don't forget about it. And we'll put this aside and put the chevron stamp back together in just a moment. And I will show you how I do that. Okay, so I'm gonna just use some gold embossing powder on this guy. One side. Okay. Kim, you set up a black tree with silver and gold decor. Now that sounds really cool. I love it. That sounds very cool. Very modern. Thanks for people that just jumped in and joined us. Welcome to our YouTube Live. If you missed any of it, we'll definitely save it to our page when all is said and done. So if you wanted to catch the beginning, you certainly can. All right, I'm going to heat set this, guys, so it might get a little bit loud, but I do believe that Zoom, after a little bit, turns that noise down. So. All right, so with the gold done, it just adds a really nice little bit of shimmer and shine by having that gold heat embossing in there. So that's one of the greatest things about that pop-out stamp set is that you have the ability to do this multicolor stamping. Okay. Oh, I'm glad you guys are loving the gold. I love it too. Okay, I'm gonna set this aside for a minute and we are going to go ahead and put this stamp back together. We oftentimes get asked about putting it back together, and I want to show how it is fairly easy to get this stamp back together. I do need to pull the other piece out of my MISTI. And so what you guys can't see is over here on the left side, I have the stamp saved in order of its pieces. So you just have to remember that the piece that's on the far right actually comes over on the opposite side. And mostly that's just for these two smaller pieces here. And then you just start stacking the rest of the layers in. And the great thing about the frame is it's flexible, so you can use it to kind of shape and get your stamp pieces back together. And then ta-da, you've got it all layered back and it's ready to use again. And just put the plastic piece over it, put it back in. And that's how easy that stamp is to put back together. So I just wanted to show that really quick. Okay, so I learned a little bit of a lesson when I used this piece for one of my release samples. And that was, I tried cutting it after I had die cut all of the pieces and popped some up with foam tape, and it was a hot mess. That's why I had to end up covering it with a frame. So I'm gonna die cut it first. So I have my Gemini set up over here. You'll just have to kind of bear with the noisiness that my Gemini makes, but this was unavoidable. This was not something I could really die cut for you guys. So we're going to go ahead and die cut this frame, because I wanted, even though I'm going to die cut it again with the coordinating chevron die, I wanted the dies to have the stitched edge around it as well. Oh, hi, Mary Kay. Nope, you're not too late. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so we have this piece. Oops, that's really stuck on there, isn't it? That's okay. So then you've got this beautiful stitched edge on it. And then what I'm going to do is I will die cut the chevrons after that. But we're going to stamp our sentiment here in a minute and get that finished first. And then we will finish off all of the die cutting at once after I do that. But I just wanted to show you, give you a little tip. Die cut or trim it down. You don't have to use a die cut, but trim it down to the size you're wanting it to be before you die cut it with the chevrons and start applying it to your card. So just a quick tip. Oh, good. I'm glad to know that that wasn't too loud. Alrighty. I am going to use that machine here again in just a minute. I need another sheet of cardstock. Okay, so next we are going to stamp the sentiment, because I'm going to have to die cut that as well. So we're just going to put this guy in here. Might grab another magnet. Alrighty, so for the sentiment, we're going to use the Merry and Bright frame, which is probably my favorite Christmas stamp set that we came out with this year. And I'm going to use the Merry and Bright sentiment. It's also one of my favorites. And we are going to stamp it in the Candy Apple Red. Oh, welcome, Deborah. Glad you could join us for the first time. I hope you enjoy crafting live with me. All right, and I'm going to stamp it up with Candy Apple, because Candy Apple is pretty much the least represented in the stripes. So it will be a nice pop, another nice pop of red. And I typically stamp sentiments twice just to get that really good impression. Yeah, Dee, this is a really great size sentiment. All three of the sentiments in the set are really great for both, or pretty much all card sizes, but both A2, oh, that actually doesn't need a second one. Both A2 and Slimline looks really great on. And they're just so, I like that they're kind of modern, but they have that kind of vintage feel as well. I think it's really pretty. So there is that gorgeous sentiment. Okay, so I think we can do a little bit more die cutting now. Go ahead and get this put back on or I'll lose it. I don't know if anybody else has the same problem. If I don't put things away right away, I tend to misplace them, or they get stuck to like the bottom of my Misty or something like that to never be found again. All right, so I'm also going to need the dyes. Very bright dye. Okay, so let's get this lined up. You always forget the tittle. I always put them aside in a safe spot so that I won't accidentally lose the tittle, because you're right, it's really super easy to lose the tittle for sure. All right, I think, sorry, this is one that you kind of got to get your head right over, so I apologize if my hair or anything is getting in the way. Okay, guys, we're going to do some die cutting. Kim, I agree. I don't mind fussy cutting like pattern papers, but I don't want to fussy cut a title or a sentiment. So I am all for coordinating. Ooh, don't rip it, Leah. Goodness. Coordinating stamps and dies. Okay. Ah, come on. All right, so got the little tittle in there, and I'm gonna just make sure that it gets put in a safe place. And I need to get the little pieces out of here. Okay. Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to include the tittle in the die. We can admit that. So I just have gotten good about putting it just off to the side and trying to keep it close by. Okay, so I am actually going to cut die one more time just to give some added dimension and sturdiness to the sentiment. So we're gonna need a few layers. Tittle, not riddle. We know what you meant. All right, that guy. Okay, and that should at least just give the sentiment a little bit of added sturdiness. Okay. And so that should be good for that. And then I'm going to die cut one more stitched rectangle panel. I just had kind of forgotten to do that part. I meant to do it beforehand, but it slipped my mind. So just have to trim a piece of cardstock really quick off camera. And the reason why I am cutting another stitched rectangle is because it is the same size as what the chevron background currently is. And that will help me line up the die cut pieces when I die cut this chevron, which is what we're going to do next. Make sure it's not off the edge. So not a big deal that it has a stitched edge, it really doesn't matter. This is more meant for just lining up all of the chevron pieces here in just a moment. All right, now to the fun part. We are going to die cut the chevron. So this is the brand new Nested Chevron die that you can use with or without the pop-out chevron stamp set, but we of course wanted to show it used together just to give you a good idea. So you can really line it up to whichever edge you want. I'm lining it up to the edge of the full-on colored stripes. But that is really ultimately up to you. And I'm gonna tape it down so that it hopefully doesn't move on me. These you should not need a shim or anything for. Just make sure that your plates are in relatively good condition. And that's a good tip just for die cutting in general. It's always important to keep your plates in good condition, rotate them, but also know that at some point, after time, you will have to actually replace those cutting plates. Okay, so a couple of them kind of stayed behind. Right, let's get those pieces taken out. Okay, so those are all of the chevrons, and as you can see, they cut all of the pieces, and I am just going to leave them on the cutting plate, and because then they stay where I want them to stay, and we're going to have a bunch of fun layering these up next. I just gotta grab some foam tape because I forgot to grab some before starting. Okay. So I am going to pop up the pieces that are solid, but I'm gonna leave flush with the background the pieces that are not solid. So quick tip, what I have found the easiest for lining these up is to actually start with these ones, because this green piece lines up with the corners. So what you can do then is grab just a glue pen, and I'm just going to use a glue pen to add adhesive to the back of each of these. So then I know that this green piece butts up against the edges of the card. So then you can use it as a guide and get them down in there. And so this is what I'm going to use to build my chevron background. So some of them are going to have little pieces of foam to make them dimensional. Where did I put scissors? Right here. Oh, thanks for the reminder, Lori, for everyone to like the video. We would definitely love for you to do that. Paulina, well, that's what I'm here for, to help make using our products. What am I doing? I have to take the backers off. Help make our products easy to use and give you guys some great tips to make you most successful at creating with them. Okay. And we're just going to go every other, and as we'll build this gorgeous chevron background as we go. And every other one we'll do just glue and then little pieces of foam. So this is the one where it'll be a little boring, so we can just chat about some things. If you'd like. These are just some really thin foam strips I found on Amazon because I was having a hard time finding the Reef ones that I typically use. And I like them. They're a little bit longer than the Reef ones. So that part's kind of cool. Hi, Jan, welcome. No worries that you're late. We'll definitely save the video to our channel. Sometimes it takes a little bit for it to fully upload, but it'll definitely appear typically within about an hour. So you can see the first part of the show that you might have missed. All right, we're just gonna keep building this super fun chevron. hi from Texas. Thanks for joining us. So on the card that I did for our release on Friday, after, I'm not going to do it in the video because it would just take too much time, and I didn't want to do things exactly the same anyway. But in my release video, after I had done this and adhered everything down to the background, I actually took this same glue pen and just layered it on the inside pieces, the pieces that I didn't pop up with foam tape, and then I covered it in glitter. And so you've got this kind of cool little glittery, tucked in glittery fill. So that was kind of a cool option for this stamp set as well. Okay, Lori's asking about our favorite Thanksgiving dinner sides. So I like mashed potatoes. I'm boring. So Yara, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, is asking if it would be easier to glue the flat pieces down and then do the foam pieces. I don't think so, because I am using each of the piece as a guide to place the next one. So I wouldn't know if I was placing it correctly without the one that I previously added to the front. So, I mean, you could certainly try it, but I just don't know how you would know where you were supposed to be placing everything. A fun fact about me and Thanksgiving, I don't like stuffing, and I don't really like cranberry sauce. So I stick to pretty basic stuff on Thanksgiving Day for Thanksgiving dinner. Hi, Mary. Thanks for joining us. All right, we're really close to being finished here. This is definitely the longest, maybe a little bit most boring part of the process, but I actually find it kind of calming. I like putting stuff like this together. I don't know if you guys do, but I find it calming to put stuff like this together. Ooh, I kind of bent that. I'm seeing a lot of, oh, another fun fact about me. I don't like gravy. I'm about the most boring Thanksgiving dinner person in the world. Oh, I might have to take my sweater off here in a second. I am warm. We're so close. But I just love how this is coming out and the bit of dimension that this foam adds. You're right, Mary Kay. It is a little bit like a puzzle. It's kind of fun. Now, you might be able to use the die to help line things up. But I'm thinking you couldn't, because the part that cuts out the thinner pieces, it's not open. So it's solid. I don't know. Pumpkin pie, though, is one of my very, very favorite desserts. So I'm all about the pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. My favorite part is actually the next day, is getting up and having a cup of coffee and a piece of pumpkin pie for dessert, which is not healthy, but so delicious. All right, just a couple more pieces. Now my husband is a big fan of pecan pie. So I'm not very good at making it though. So he's much better at cooking that than I am. I'm a good baker, but me and pies don't really, we don't really mesh well. I don't know why. All right, last little pieces here, friends. I agree, Dee. Thanks. Glad you're joining the coffee and pumpkin pie combo with me. last little guys here. Oh, good, Heather. I'm glad you agree with me too. Oh, hi from Barbados. Thanks for joining us today. I'm glad you're enjoying this card. We're in kind of the boring part, but we're almost done with this part, so it's about to get a little bit more involved rather than just gluing a background together. Okay. This can get out of the way here. All right, so look at that background. How fun is it? And I just love the little bit of dimension that popping up those solid pieces with foam tape gives it. Well, you don't have to do it this way if you didn't want to, but I enjoy how it looks when it all is said and done. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue the pieces of the sentiment together here while I've got this glue pen out. Yep, yes, absolutely. And dimension is life. Okay, there we go. And I love that because it just makes it a little bit sturdier. So when I go to put it on the card, it's not as flimsy. And then we've got the tittles saved. I'll put those on a little bit differently once we, there it is, stuck on my finger. Okay, basically at this point now, it's just time to start assembling the card. So I have this pink card base that I have already created. So I'm just going to get a tape runner here. I'll just put a little tape runner on the back to adhere it down. Yeah, doing that background that way is a little bit time consuming. You don't have to do it that way. I don't mind doing it. I find it calming and I enjoy creating cards with dimension like this, but you could honestly just take all of those pieces and just adhere them down with some glue. That would be totally fine. I agree, Julie. And that's actually a good comparison. When you stack the sentiments like that, it makes them look more like chipboard versus cardstock. That is definitely a good comparison on that. Okay, so before we started, I went ahead and die cut this frame because I knew I wanted to use it, but it takes a little bit of time to pop out the little details on it. And I did die cut it 3 times. I die cut it twice from cardstock and once from this gold glitter paper. And we're just going to adhere it on here directly to the front. Kim Creations, yes, there will be a Black Friday sale. It's going to start technically Thursday at 6 p.m. So we will send out all of the details in an email newsletter. So if you don't get our email newsletter, be sure to sign up for that at our website. And then the details, of course, will also show up on our first page of our website on Thursday at around 6 p.m. Okay. And a lot of people talking about dimension. I love adding a lot of dimension to cards. This card will still easily tuck into an envelope. You will just need that additional stamp that basically makes it it's like a non-machinable stamp. So so you can still send these in the mail, and then you can also pop them into bags or gift bags or packages or send it in a padded envelope. Just to let you guys know that the Black Friday sale that we are doing is not valid on the new release or gift cards, but it will be valid on everything else. Okay, So I think we've got that piece done. So next we're going to add the sentiment in here. I'm trying to think of where I want to align it. I think right there, because then the little tittle can go on that green spot. Okay, so that's something you always want to be aware of, is when you're placing a sentiment that the tittle's not attached to, just be aware of where you're placing it so that you do have a place that you can put the tittle on there. And I did a horrible job lining this piece up, you guys. It's a little dark in here because it's just, you know, winter, it's starting to be wintry, and so it gets a little bit darker sometimes during the day. So that was not the greatest job, but that glue is a little bit forgiving, so I think it let me slide it around. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned, but this is the fancy oval frame. It's one of our new ones. It's the sister to our previously released ornate oval frame, which is like a bestseller in our collection of essentials. So we wanted to come out with a new version for you guys. It's a really great layering piece. Looks good pretty much on all cards. Also can be great for memory keeping, framing pictures, that kind of thing. Looks like some of you guys are talking about tea. And I think Heather and I share a favorite tea together, and that is Harney and Sons Hot Cinnamon Spice. I think her and I have talked about that in the past. Okay, so for adding the tittles, I typically will use a jewel picker and then go ahead and just add a little dot of glue where I want the tittle to go. And I did cut 2 layers, and I'm going to use both layers. And then just go ahead, and then you can take the tip of your jewel picker and move it around until it's to your liking. And then just go ahead and add another little drop of glue right there. And then you can use the tip of it and move it where you want it to go. All right, we're really close to finished, friends. We're just gonna add a little bit of bling to this card. Oh, it's stuck on something. And then we will be done. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the crystals this time around, and I'm gonna use them in red and green and pink to match the background. I cut the oval from just some like champagne gold glitter paper. I think I've had it forever. I think it's Martha Stewart branded. I don't know if you can find it anymore, but really any type of gold glitter paper would totally work for this. Okay. So I'm kind of looking for the bigger red. Actually, let's go with bigger green. Yeah. Actually, kind of a cool. Trying to figure out where I want these crystals to go. Typically, we'll run them alongside my frame. And that's probably what I'm gonna, oops, I need a smaller one. Oh, Jean, that'll be a perfect thing to ask for Christmas. The crystals are some of my favorites too. Actually wonder if I would like these the other way around. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. And then I can get that guy right down in there. Like that. Let's do it on the other side as well. All right, it seems I have a little bit of glue on my fingers, and it's making the crystals stick to me. Let me see if I can get that off. Kim, you could definitely use one of the crystals as the tittle as well. That's a great idea as well. Or jewels, if you have our jewels. You can use either. I wanted to use red on here, and so the crystals, oh man alive, friends. The crystals have the really beautiful red shade in them, so. Okay, goodness, this I'm struggling over here. My hands got a little gluey when I was gluing all of those layers together, and the crystals just want to stick. Okay, I feel like there needs to be something up here. Maybe not. Okay, leave it at that for now. We'll see if after you put these on, if I want to add any more. Okay. Just put a little dollop of glue. And I know I mention this every time, but the crystals will go back to their beautiful, clear crystal selves after that glue dries. I know that they start to look a little dull when you get the glue on underneath them, but they definitely go back to that beautiful crystal tone. Oopsies. Here we go. Yeah, I was a little bit on the struggle bus there with the jewels. I had too much glue pen glue on my fingers, and they just wanted to stick right to them. Okay. Oh, those are nice. All right, I do feel like they need something up here. Let me see what I can figure out. Let's see. Maybe red. I am using the Lawn Fundamentals glue tube. It's the liquid glue. I mean, it's the same thing as like the Gina K Connect glue. I think that Studio Katia comes out with one. It's just a tube of liquid glue. Yes, Julie, I agree. One of our artistic bows would actually look really lovely on this as well. Ooh, actually I have kind of a fun idea. Thanks, Lori. I appreciate that. Let's do that. And then we're just going to do little pink ones in here. There we go. Okay, this one might be a little bit more complicated. Yeah, I don't ever get clogs, Mary Kay. The only thing I get is I haven't ever been able to seem to work out the little air bubble that happens right before using it. It's not a huge deal. All right. And we are going to call that good. Oops. Now I can just kind of shove that down in there. Maybe. I might have to add more glue. Okay, well, we're going to call that good for now. Okay. Yes, Blue Butterfly, the finishing touches definitely can take just as long as the actual, like, putting in the card. So that is our card for today, friends. I hope that you enjoyed it coming together. Let me put some stuff away so I don't spill these, because I am notorious for knocking canisters of crystals over. And that is what we have. So we now are just waiting for Heather to pick a winner. I'm gonna actually go ahead and switch my camera around here and bring it back on me. It might be a little bit grainy, so just bear with me because it's a little dark. All right, so there we have it. I don't think I've missed the winner yet. So that is our card for today. Thanks for joining me. Thanks so much. Oh, I'm so glad you guys love the card. And definitely share it with us if you make your own version or whatever. Share it with us on Instagram or Facebook, and let us know what you create. Hopefully you guys will grab the pop-out chevron stamp set with the coordinating nested chevron die. If you don't have it yet, it's a really great stamp set to have in your stamping arsenal. Super versatile, and you will love using it. Okay, I'm seeing a winner. Congratulations to Deborah Ruffing. Yay, you've won today's $15 gift card code. Be sure to email me, Leah, at pinkfreshstudio.com to claim your prize. Give me 2 to 3 days to answer back because I get a lot of emails. So normally it doesn't take me that long, but I just ask for that much time. So here's how the rest of this week is going to play out because this is a holiday week. So tomorrow, Joka will be live on Facebook for her scrapbooking live. But then Thursday and Friday, we won't be doing anything live. So we won't have a Thursday Facebook live. And right now, Craft Hour is still a little bit up in the air. So I will let you know in the Friday newsletter or Saturday reminder if that is going to happen. So other than that, we will send out our Black Friday sale email information on Thursday at 6 p.m. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, you guys, that's all that I have for you. I hope you guys have, for our US friends, I hope that you guys have a wonderful holiday. If you celebrate, if you don't, hopefully you just have a really great day and rest of your week in general. And Sadie wants to say goodbye too. Other than that, congratulations to our winner, and we will see you guys live, or I will see you guys live next week. All right, you guys.